Ever dreamed of starting your own small-scale factory without leaving your house or breaking the bank? In today's video, I'll show you 30 powerful and compact machines from China that let you manufacture real products right from your garage, spare room, or a corner in the workshop. Whether it's a precision CNC wood lathe or a fully automated sock maker, these compact machines are surprisingly affordable, and I'll be sharing exact costs along with direct links to reliable manufacturers. China has become a global hub for small business tools, offering a huge variety of specialized equipment that's hard to find anywhere else. Whether you're into crafts, gadgets, or custom parts, there's something here for you. Let's jump in and explore what's possible. You've seen sturdy webbing straps on backpacks, tie-downs in trunks, and grab handles on gym bags. All of that comes from a compact strap weaving machine. Feed in spools of nylon thread, hit start, and a tight, even strap comes out the other side. The machine costs about $4,000, plus $300 for a small hot cutter that seals the edges so they don't fray. The biggest advantage? Small custom runs. Big factories won't touch 200-300 feet in a custom color or pattern, but small gear shops will gladly pay extra if you can deliver quickly. Delicate stair balusters, knife handles, designer candle holders, all of these can be turned on a single CNC machine. You clamp down a wooden blank, choose a template, hit start, and within 2 to 3 minutes, the cutters carve out a finished piece from solid wood. The combined cost of materials and electricity is around 60 cents, while these parts typically sell for $2 to $5. Want to raise your price? Use exotic hardwoods or add laser engraving right after machining. You don't need much space. The machine and a workbench can easily fit in a small room or garage. Don't toss the sawdust, compress it into briquettes, and sell it for backyard grills or fireplaces. One evening of work, and you're not just shaping wood, you're printing money from lumber. Laser engraving inside glass is a business that feels like magic. In your hand, a clear block of glass or crystal. But once the machine starts, a 3D image begins to appear inside. A portrait, a pet, a company logo, anything you upload. How does it work? A high-precision laser focuses just beneath the surface of the glass, creating tiny microfractures point by point. Alone, each dot is invisible, but together, they form an image that floats inside the crystal, while the outside remains perfectly smooth. It's a product that always sparks emotion and surprise, and those things sell. You've probably noticed that caps with embroidered logos, t-shirts with stitched slogans, and even jackets with unique designs are priced far higher than their plain counterparts. And the price difference is usually way beyond the cost of thread and fabric. The reason? Personalization. An embroidery machine that works on caps, tees, hoodies, and more costs anywhere from $2,500 to $8,000, depending on how many needles and how large the workspace is. The cost to make one embroidery design? Typically 20 to 40 cents, but the resale value? $3 to $10 markup per item, often more. The smell of fresh fettuccine in the air, the quiet hum of dough mixing, and minutes later, a perfect portion of pasta slides out onto the tray, ready to cook. All you need is flour, water, a couple of eggs, and this machine. It mixes the dough, presses it into shape, and neatly cuts each portion. The recipe is easy to customize. Add spinach or squid ink and suddenly you've got a premium, gourmet version. Great for farmers markets, Italian delis, or home delivery kits. When's the last time you thought about dish sponges or shower scrubbers? Probably never, but the world buys over 10 billion of these mesh poofs every year, and you can manufacture them right in your garage. Want to stand out? Offer scrubbers with different firmness levels. Tap into the eco-market using PET fiber made from recycled plastic, a small switch that lets you raise your prices by 50% while getting a huge marketing boost. The production is simple, and the demand is steady year-round. When stores or warehouses order wooden pallets, they typically get the classic nailed-together slat version. But there's an alternative pressed pallets made from sawdust and wood shavings. These are made using a special machine. Wood waste is mixed with binder, poured into a mold, and pressed under high heat. The result? A uniform, solid pallet. They're about 30% lighter than standard ones, resistant to moisture, don't warp, and stack more efficiently. Plus, the raw material is often free leftover sawdust from furniture or woodworking shops. When rust on an old metal structure is thicker than the original paint, most people grab a grinder, a sandblaster, or harsh chemicals. You open a compact case, switch on a fiber laser, and watch the reddish-brown layer vanish, no dust, no sparks, leaving behind clean, shiny metal. The equipment costs around $8,500, with no consumables other than electricity. Cleaning services charge $40–$60 for car parts and $70–$90 per hour for things like power line towers or marine equipment. Even if you stay local and serve nearby auto shops, 3 or 4 jobs a day can easily bring in $200 plus in revenue. Ever heard the tortilla paradox? In Mexico, they say, a good tortilla can only be made by hand, but to make money, you can't use your hands. Why? Because dough is picky. It reacts to humidity, temperature, and even the time of day. The tortilla making machine knows how to hit that perfect balance. It takes dough balls, presses them between 2 heated plates, and out slides a warm, evenly cooked tortilla in just seconds. No burning, no tearing. How many pairs of socks did you toss out last year? For the average person, more than 10. Now picture a quiet room where a machine taps steadily, knitting a brand new pair. A spool of yarn feeds into the cylinder, needles flash faster than the eye can follow, and in moments, a finished sock drops into a basket. To stand out in a sea of identical products, don't compete on price, compete on concept. Limited run socks with weekly memes, running socks with compression zones, custom corporate boxes with logos and personalized tags. The only waste a few inches of yarn trimmings gets picked up by wool processors and turned into recycled material, and they'll even pay you a few cents per pound for it. Sanctions, tariffs, and anti-dumping laws have all made simple items like barbed wire more expensive in the US, not because the tech got better, but because it now has to be made locally. That's where a barbed wire making machine comes in. The machine feeds in 2 strands of steel wire, twists them together, and every 4–6 inches wraps a sharp barb around them. What you get is the classic coil, ready to spool out 300 to 600 feet per roll. Simple product, steady demand, and now made closer to home. People don't usually think of paper plates as a business, but they absolutely can be. You load in pre-cut paper circles, press a button, and in a few seconds, the mold forms a finished plate. All you need is a small machine, access to an outlet, and paper to start producing plates in small batches. Even wholesale orders for local cafes and food trucks can bring in 200–300% profit per plate. The real opportunity? Custom orders. Print cartoon characters for kids' parties, or add a cafe's logo suddenly. The price doubles. Walk into any supermarket and you'll see thousands of little packets. Coffee, spices, protein powder, detergent, vanilla sugar. All of them were packaged on machines like this, the powder packing machine. It measures the dose, forms the pouch, fills it, seals it, and it's ready for sale. You can use it for both food grade and industrial powders. The key is choosing the right packaging film and keeping things clean. The real advantage is flexibility. Today you're packing spices for online orders. Tomorrow it's detergent for a local store. Just swap the film and adjust the settings, the machine handles the rest. Unrefined sunflower or peanut oil is now bought by everyone from restaurants to vegan markets. And you don't need a factory to produce it. A tabletop screw press, about the size of a microwave, extracts oil straight from the seeds. The equipment costs around $300. 5 pounds of clean seeds runs about $1.3. From that, the press yields 12–13 ounces of oil, plus leftover meal that can be sold to farmers as animal feed. You can also offer cold-pressed oil, which retains more nutrients, or go into infused flavors. Garlic, basil, chili, flavor and aroma sell the oil for a premium, and the added ingredients cost next to nothing. Want to scale up? Switch to a hydraulic press for higher output. Class broke on a pendant that needs fixing by tonight? Place the chain under a microscope, press the pedal, and a fine laser pulse melts the gold in a spot smaller than a pinhead without heating the stone. 2 seconds, and it's like new, with no solder blobs or burned edges. Time equals money. A single repair takes just 3 to 5 minutes, and clients routinely pay $20–40 per job. You can process dozens of pieces in one evening. A plain mug becomes a limited edition gift. A plastic card turns into an art piece. A t-shirt becomes wearable merch. All it takes is a compact sublimation printer and a heat press. Setup costs around $650 to $1,000, which can pay off after selling just 300 mugs, typically within 1–2 months. Here's how it works. Print a bold design onto transfer paper. Place it on the mug, card, or shirt, and clamp it in the press. At 400° Fahrenheit for 40 seconds, the ink fuses into the material waterproof, UV resistant. Remove the paper, let it cool, and it's ready to sell. One preform, one press of the pedal, and within seconds, you're holding a hot, freshly molded bottle of the right size. It doesn't take much space, and the beverage, household chemical, and cosmetics markets are all waiting for your packaging. Craft soda brands and sauce makers regularly order batches of 5,000 to 10,000 units, orders too small for large factories, but perfect for you. You've probably seen standard 3D printers spitting out brittle little plastic figures. This one is built differently. It prints with TPU and EVA flexible thermoplastics used in sneaker soles and shockproof phone bumpers. Here's how it works. Load your model, and the printer lays down layer after layer of polyurethane until you've got a part that bends into a loop and snaps back into shape. Flexible plastic opens up dozens of niche products. Soft elbow pads for CrossFit, mesh shock absorbers for heavy equipment, squishy soap molds, even cosplay-ready rubber masks. Remember those clear plastic lids for cupcakes? Or the molded blister packs for earbuds? They're made by a desktop vacuum former. A sheet of PVC, about 0.02 inches thick, is placed on a grate and heated until it turns rubbery. Then a vacuum pulls it down onto a pre-made mold. 10 seconds later, it's cool and ready to cut. Where do you get clients? Etsy crafters constantly need custom molds for soap, candles, or plaster, and you can offer packaging for almost anything. Trends change. A client wants a new logo? You print a new mold and have a fresh batch ready by tomorrow. When a teacher writes on a chalkboard, no one really thinks about where those little white sticks come from. And yet, they can be made pretty much anywhere. All it takes is a chalk molding machine. The machine is just a bit larger than a dining table. You mix plaster, water, and pigment, pour it into the molds, and after a few minutes, you press out chalk sticks that only need drying. One bag of raw material becomes thousands of chalk sticks, and thousands of chalk sticks can become a stable daily income. Napkins may seem like a small item, but the demand is massive. Cafes, restaurants, takeout services, they go through thousands daily. This machine feeds in large rolls of tissue paper, folds it into multiple layers, cuts clean squares, and even embosses a texture or pattern. You can stick with plain white packs for food service or offer printed branding and decorative designs, easily doubling or tripling the price per pack. Picture a hotel or spa. Every guest gets a fresh pair of lightweight slippers. This machine feeds a roll of non-woven fabric into a cutting head, which shapes the sole and immediately fuses it to the upper layer using ultrasonic welding. Each cycle produces one complete pair, ready to be folded and bagged. A small room, a standard wall outlet, and a roll of non-woven fabric. That's all you need to get this business going. Just 4 machines are enough to start producing soap. First, you pour vegetable oils into a heated mixer. Add lye, color, and fragrance. After about 30 minutes, the dense soap mixture is extruded in a long loaf. You cut it into bars and stamp each one. That's it, just pack and sell. The fun part? You can change the recipe as you like. Add mint, it's summer soap. Mix in oats now, it's exfoliating. Pour in goat milk and suddenly it's a premium product. Same equipment, but the price tag climbs. You load a stack of paper into the machine. Choose a size. and a few minutes later, it's spitting out a neat pile of ready-to-use envelopes. Sheets are cut, folded, glued. All that's left is to box them up. What's the minimum to get started? The machine itself costs about $10,000. An infrared glue dryer runs around $300, and a pallet of office-grade paper about $250, which is enough for roughly 40,000 envelopes. Of course, the hardest part is still ahead, actually selling them. A traditional potter can spend over an hour shaping a single vase, rolling out the clay, pulling the walls, refining the form. A desktop 3D clay printer does all of that on its own. Just pour a bucket of slip, a thick clay and water mix, into the hopper, choose your model, and hit print. The real advantage? It can create forms that are nearly impossible to achieve on a potter's wheel. Thin ridges, complex spirals. Download a free design from Thingiverse, tweak the dimensions, and by tonight you've got a piece no one else is selling. Clay is cheap, the printer is quiet, and the handmade ceramics market is growing every year. Plastic straws are being phased out. Coffee shops, fast food chains, and restaurants are all switching to paper alternatives. And demand grows every day, faster than most local suppliers can keep up. The machine itself is clever. It pulls in narrow rolls of food, grade paper, applies a thin line of edible glue, then quickly wraps it around a spindle to form a tight, durable straw. In a matter of seconds, it cuts them to length and stacks them for packing. Most bakeries and cafes still portion cookies by hand, scooping dough, lining trays, and hoping for consistency. This machine does the same job, just faster and with perfect accuracy. Load the dough into the top hopper, press the pedal, and it neatly drops uniform portions onto the baking sheet. Your ingredients and recipes still matter, but the output becomes much faster and more reliable. People often think cotton pads are just circles punched out of drugstore cotton, but once you try to actually make them, you realize how much more goes into it. First, you need special cotton fabric, not fluff, something smooth, durable, and soft enough for the face. Then comes the ultrasonic bonding. The machine fuses multiple layers of fabric together without glue or chemicals. Only after that does a precision cutter stamp out the discs. The hardest part? Getting the settings just right so the pads don't fall apart. The jelly candy machine is kind of like the cookie machine, except it deals with sticky, hot syrup instead of dough. The real fun in this business is experimenting with shapes and flavors. Sure, you can make the usual bears and worms, but custom molds, tiny fruits, cartoon characters, company logos catch more attention and sell better. The only tricky part is cooling. If the timing or temperature is off, you'll end up with sticky blobs that won't release from the molds cleanly. In the summer, the line for popsicles is often longer than the one for coffee. People are happy to eat them every single day in the heat. But what if you weren't just selling store-bought popsicles? What if you made your own bolder, tastier, more interesting than anything off the shelf? To start a small popsicle production line, all you need are 3 things: a good recipe, a popsicle making machine, and a little imagination. Add real berries, fresh fruit, chocolate. Make layered popsicles, or even experiment with herbs and spices for those who like exotic flavors. Customers will gladly pay $1–2 per piece if it's something more exciting than your average frozen treat.